watching Secretary of State Marco Rubio there at the White House briefing room. Of course, the press secretary out on maternity leave. As the Secretary of State issues a vigorous defense, a kind of rationale now for the administration's military operation in the Middle East against Iran. Let me bring in our Julie Sirkin, who is at the White House for us. And interestingly, you heard him seem to try to clarify or back up what we heard President Trump allude to, which is this idea that Operation Epic Fury is winding down. Now the focus is on what they call Project Freedom, which is the ability to have U.S. ships help other ships safely transit the key Strait of Hormuz, Julie.
Yeah, exactly. And Secretary Rubio seemed to make some news there by definitively saying that Operation Epic Fury, that military part of this war that started at the end of February, is, quote, over. He then clarified by saying that the economic and the diplomatic pressure, the sanctions that we've seen and so forth are ongoing. But he did also say and underscore, frankly, that Project Freedom is entirely different. And not only that, Hallie, but it is a defensive operation. Rubio saying that over and over again. He said, we only shoot if we are shot at, meaning if Iranian forces strike U.S. forces, as we know now, according to General Kane, that has happened at least 10 times, even the course of this fragile ceasefire. Secretary Rubio also continuing to say that Iran giving up its nuclear program is still a red line that has not yet been met. This is the entire reason that we heard from the president, from his administration, for why this military operation went forward to begin with. Secretary Rubio continuing to make the point that the Strait of Hormuz is not Iran's to block. It is international water. It is not only that oil and gas is relied upon around so many countries, but fertilizer, humanitarian aid, Rubio said, is being held up there. He also didn't really lay out a timeline for how long this Project Freedom operation in the Strait would be going, but he did say, when asked if other countries would be involved to alleviate that effort, that the U.S. is in charge here, that they are leading on this, and that, of course, they are doing this because so many countries are unable to get their oil and gas. By the way, those prices continuing to skyrocket here too, Hallie.
Julie Sirkin live for us on the North Lawn. Let me bring in our senior national security correspondent, Courtney Kuby, who is joining us with more on this. And Courtney, I wonder how you heard that, given what we heard from the Pentagon this morning about, obviously, what they called this operational update on Epic Fury, as well as the Secretary's discussion of the initial reason, and people might remember this, that the president said they were instituting this operation against Iran, which was its nuclear ambitions.
Exactly. So as for Operation Epic Fury, the Pentagon or the military and the politicals are really not on the same page here, because we had here Secretary of State Marco Rubio, National Security Advisor, saying that Epic Fury is over. But the military maintains that it's on a pause right now, and they still have more than 50,000 men and women who are there in support of Operation Epic Fury. Now, they are being used in some cases to support the blockade, to support Project Freedom, but ultimately they are still there in support of Operation Epic Fury. As for the reasoning behind this entire thing, that was one of the clearest explanations for the Trump administration's going into this war from the beginning. Marco Rubio there explained that the goal was to go after Iran's conventional capabilities so they could no longer use those as a defense of their nuclear program. He explaining there that if Iran had this huge ballistic missile program and stockpiles, that they would be able to advance their nuclear program and use the conventional capabilities like the ballistic missiles and the drones and their air force to defend against a growing nuclear capability and program. And I've really been struck by this because we've had little pieces of that explained here and there by Trump administration officials. That was the clearest explanation to date. And candidly, I don't really know why they haven't been explaining that more fully over the past several weeks.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.